Support for Radio Friends comes from IT Como, offering computer and IT services for small businesses and residential clients. IT Como can set up remote work-at-home solutions and data security and backup systems, and upgrade your company email to more modern platforms. IT Como can also help you get the most from your technology at home. Learn more at itcomo.com. Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Friday, August the 25th. JOAN STACK is with us, the walking encyclopedia. That's a good way to introduce this woman from the State Historical Society. And I mean that as a very sincere compliment, Joan.
Well, thanks. Quite a compliment.
She is a walking encyclopedia on the history of Missouri. So what are we going to deal with today?
Well, it's election season, and we have a group of fine art prints up in the gallery, our guitar gallery of works on paper by George Caleb Bingham and Thomas Hart Benton. And we have 3 prints that are considered the election series. And so the originals are paintings, and they can be seen at the St. Louis Art Museum. But Bingham wanted to get the message of these artworks out to a larger audience, so he made prints in the 1850s of these
And you
images.
have prints?
We have the entire series as in print form.
So how large are the prints?
They are the size of a kind of a medium, I guess, size painting. They would have been displayed prominently in homes back in the 1850s, the same way a painting would be. They are hand-colored, so they do resemble a painting, as much as a print can.
So you want to talk about the 3 that we have?
Yes. So I brought images in of the prints so you can see how they are the same size and they flow together. You see a kind of a rise and fall. So they were designed to be seen as a group, though they could be seen independently. And they represent the election process in the United States. Mm-hmm. So we see stump speaking, which represents campaigning.
Okay, the very first one is a stump speaking.
And then the next one is called county election, which represents the vote taking place. And there's a voter up on the steps of the courthouse voting. And then finally, we have the verdict of the people, where the results of the election are being announced and everybody is reacting. And what I think Bingham was trying to show in a period of division in the country, where things were very divided over the issue of slavery before the Civil War, between 1850 and 1860 was a kind of a very tense time in America.
Kind of what we have right now.
Perhaps, yeah. And he wanted to show that the thing that unites us, regionally, urban versus rural, between parties, is our commitment to the democratic process and the election process.
And I hope this commitment to democratic process stays with us.
Yeah, it's something that I think Bingham saw as a way to cross those barriers that exist between parties, between partisans, and see that, that democracy is worth saving. And he is worried. I mean, things are kind of rough in the 1850s. That also was the time of the bleeding Kansas, where they were fighting over whether Kansas would become a slave state or a free state before the Civil War. So it's a very tense time, and he's very aware of it in Missouri. And Missouri is sort of a microcosm for the nation, because there are people on both sides of these issues. It is regionally positioned so that you had pro-slavery people and anti-slavery people in Missouri. So in an interesting way, as a Missourian, he is able to represent this kind of national concept of elections bringing us together. We fight, we go through the election process, it's an adversarial. There may be a few problems and a little bit of corruption in elections. We do see in one of the images a man carrying a drunk up the stairs to get that drunk to vote. But he represents that as sort of comic, but the whole thing works. And it flows together. Again, that's why I think seeing the whole process and the series, I think of the concept of e pluribus unum, and the series itself comes together and creates one story, just as the people of the United States come together and create a democracy. So I think it's really an interesting series of images to contemplate, even though it's way back in the 1850s.
Contemplate with what's happening today.
Yeah, and to see that this has been something that Americans have been thinking about and America was an experiment. And in the 1850s especially, most European countries were not democracies. So people thought very likely America will eventually fail. We haven't failed. It's going to be our 250th anniversary in 2026. So hopefully we continue to stay a powerful democracy.
I hope so. I hope so too. How long will these be on display?
These will be on display throughout the rest of August and through September. There's a chance we may do something else in October. They may stay up. I can't promise because we've got something maybe in the works, but definitely throughout September. And so I want to invite everybody to come and see them. They are, again, in the back gallery that's devoted to Bingham and Benton Works on Paper. So if you come in, ask the security officer if you can see the election pictures, you'll be directed back there.
You ask Mr. Security Officer.
We also have a Ms. Security Officer also. So there we've got two people who are doing that job. So yeah, ask Kevin Walsh. Some people may know that name.
Oh my! Everybody knows who Kevin Walsh. He's one of them, isn't he?
He's one of them. Yeah.
And well, he's kind of an encyclopedia himself.
He is
on the history of Central Missouri.
Yeah, and he will tell you a lot. And the other person is Cynthia Evans, who is one of our preparators, who helps get our exhibitions on the wall. So she is quite knowledgeable too.
We've got about a minute left. What are some of the other things that people can come down and see?
Well, we have, of course, the sculpture that I talked about last time, the big sculpture that came from Washington, D.C.
Which has to be, you had to scientifically contemplate where you could place that because it was so heavy.
Yes, it's 5,000-pound sculpture. So, but it comes straight from the United States Capitol. So it's kind of fun to have a piece of the Capitol that was there for over 100 years now at the State Historical Society of Missouri. So that is a fun thing to come and see, and that will always be on display.
And where is that?
Well, that is also towards the back of the gallery.
Okay.
Yeah. So come and see that. Come and see our other exhibits on display. Our permanent exhibit of Thomas Hart Benton World War II paintings may be interesting to contemplate in the wake of Oppenheimer. And, of course, the other Civil War-related thing, General Order Number 11 by George Caleb Bingham, a picture that, again, shows you the aftermath, if you do find the country divided, is Civil War.
Hopefully we're not heading that way.
Yes, hopefully.
But, Joan, thank you so much for coming. I tell you, I said the woman can just talk. I can just sit here, and she has got all the information that you need. A very interesting lady. Thank you. And again, your hours at the
art gallery is open Tuesday through Friday, opens at 10, closes at 4:30, and on Saturday opens at 10, closes at 2.
Okay. The State Historical Society of Missouri, shsmo.org for more information.
Thank you.
Something you'd like to hear or see, drop me an email, pepperp@missouri.edu, and have yourself a very nice day. Bye-bye.